everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast. It is Thanksgiving week here over here where we're at in the U.S. So as you can tell, there's a lot of things to be thankful for. We'll go into that, why, especially on the Eintracht Frankfurt side of things. Garret here in Metro Detroit. Not alone, as you can see here in video, unless producer Nathan just decides to do audio this week. We just joined once again seems to be my lately partner in crime on a lot of these things, John in Delaware. John, how are you this evening?
Doing okay. And unfortunately, my women's team here in the U.S. lost the final on Saturday, so that was a bit of a bummer after a couple great Frankfurt victories. So.
To go back on from the last time you and I were on a half pod, because last week I know Brian was with the 50 plus donor crew for kind of a Bundesliga discussion. What hurt you more, the NWSL final, or are your Jaguars traveling the Ford Field against by Detroit Lions? Which, by the way, for folks that aren't sure on that, Matt correctly called a 50 spot. I thought he was out of his fucking mind, but he was not. He was right.
The NWSL final hurt a whole lot more than that. I know it was the worst loss in Jaguars franchise history, but I didn't expect anything out of that game. So yeah, no, NWSL final hurt pretty bad.
Do you realize what was your previous worst loss in franchise history was again?
Was also to the Lions in our inaugural season.
1995. So the more things change in life, the more they stay the same. So I think, yeah, there's locally, I'm look at it right now, and this will segue into things being thing. Like, I'm thankful for my Detroit Lions. They're 10-1. I'm wondering, are they going to end the 8-year curse on Thanksgiving? My Red Wings and Pistons here are not giving me reasons to be thankful. They're making me sure not to eat too much because of them. But our Eintracht Frankfurt, as you mentioned, John, plenty to be. We'll talk about the Männer, but let's go chrono. Start off with the Frauen. So brief note from last weekend. Frauen, hard-fought 1-0 win at Hoffenheim. Penalty, if I recall. Yeah, if I recall right, it was a penalty in the form of Hoffenheim had the ball, kicking it out of their own zone. Their goalie sends it over to their defender. The defender, thinking that the play's not live, picks the ball up. Penalty given. Thorson buries it. That's all that was needed. You know what? Lauderstieva opposite direction. I'll take this. I'll take the 3 points. But the main thing we're going to talk about is what took place for the Frauen this past Friday. DFB Pokal, not the quarterfinals, round of 16. John, you've mentioned it. Eintracht Frankfurt taking on the Zweite Frauen Bundesliga side of Union Berlin, who's only allowed, you're saying 6 goals all year.
Goals, yeah.
Where are they at in the table? Because I haven't seen it.
They are second right now, I believe.
And is it just one that goes up?
It'll be 3 this year because they're expanding to 14 for the Bundesliga. So normally it would be 2 up, 2 down. This year it's 1 down, 3 up.
Right. So when you learn more about what Union Berlin has done this season leading up to that match on Friday, for any of those that checked out that Pokal round of 16 match on DAZN, which was a new Eastern kickoff, or 12:30 Eastern kickoff on Friday, you can kind of see how good of a side Union Berlin was playing at the Forsterei. Kind of a parallel to how a normal match at the Forsterei, like a Männer match is at the Forsterei. Hard-fought contest. Frauen had to work for it. They left it late, but in the end, Laura Freigen off a corner, and then Barbara Dunst with a, in my opinion, well-deserved goal based off of her performance in that match, and we'll get into that. The Frauen advanced to the quarters. Union Berlin 0, Eintracht Frankfurt Frauen 2. How are you feeling? I felt like you were a bit stressed during that match when we were in the Discord. You had one of your buddies with you, right? Was it Union fan too? So tell us all about this, man.
Yeah, so one of my good friends, who's a Spirit fan along with me, Joey, he's an Union fan as well. And we were traveling to Kansas City. We're in Charlotte when the game starts, and then we get on the plane during the second half. I'm like trying to watch as much of the game before I have to switch my phone over to airplane mode. I think I got to about the 75th minute before I finally had to turn it off. So I wasn't able to see the goals. But I'm just watching this. I'm like, man, we're controlling this game so much, getting a lot of good opportunities and just couldn't get a goal. I was really worried that they were just going to pull one out of their ass late and beat us like 1-0. But
had a couple good.
Yeah, but you know what? This Frauen side is different, and they pulled out the victory 2-0, moving on against a side that will be in the Frauen Bundesliga next year. And I mean, hell, they've only lost, I think, 2 games or maybe 3 games in the past year and a half calendar-wise. It's something absolutely insane.
You can kind of see that when you look at Union Berlin and the culture that they have done, that we've seen on the Männer side, their promotion from the Bundesliga in the 2019-2020, carrying over to the Frauen game as well. It's momentum that you can't run away from, and or you can't deny if you're not in FC Union, if you're not in that bubble. So for us to say, yeah, it's a good momentum, great supporting crowd. We wish them all the best, and we hope that we get to talk about them as a Frauen Bundesliga opponent in the 25-26 season, and then hopefully, do a bit more like we did on Friday. But, we're not there yet. This is our one time right now. Get up there, and let's have some more of these games, because this was a fun, even if you were a neutral Frauen Bundesliga, Frauen Pokal supporter, this was a fun match. It's a fun match. Enough supporters on either end for the level on there, and really a match that could have gone either way. We'll talk more about what's ahead for the quarterfinals once the draws take place. When we're looking at for the matches, the Frauen's next matchup is December 7th, Frauen Bundesliga. So we'll talk about that in the next episode. I believe we're going to go early next week. But now, onto the Männer, before we get into the birthday lad and his lads, we're going to go around the Bundesliga, because we have to segue just how important this match, the Eintracht Frankfurt Werder Bremen match this past Saturday, became at kickoff. So we'll go into, I'm not going to do chrono so much around the Bundesliga, but Bayern Munich started off with Augsburg 3-0, 2 Harry Kane penalties, and then a little kippy up header thing at stoppage time. I mean, I'm just glad he didn't pull his hamstring or anything on that, because my coworker said to me, "I like great control." I was like, "Yeah, it's Bayern, it's Harry Kane, cool." Saturday, Bayer Leverkusen fell behind 2-0 to Heidenheim, but then scored 5 unanswered. So, yeah, they look like they're clicking again. Freiburg had 2 red cards. That was the least painful thing. They lost 4-0 to Dortmund at the
Westfalenstadion.
Yeah, I was going to say not the Waldstadion, because I'm losing my goddamn trade. I was like, wait a minute, this is Thanksgiving week kicking in. We'll talk about the one why Frankfurt was important in a second. We're going to lead up to that. VfB Stuttgart 2, Bochum 0. Watching, there was my English friends have a neighbor who's a Nottingham Forest fan that joined, but his buddy was a VfB Stuttgart fan. So it was kind of cool that I got to give him notes as checking Bot Mob during that match. Wolfsburg 1, Union Berlin 0. Kind of a big surprising win. That's Wolfsburg's first win at home? Second win at home, right? Or second? First, second.
Well, second if you count the Pokal victory against Dortmund.
So there seemed to be getting off that little rush skid, heading more closer to the European places. Sunday, Holstein Kiel 0, Mainz 3. Ouch. Borussia Mönchengladbach 2, St. Pauli 0. Tim Kleindienst, another goal. I mean, proven more to maybe be one of these signings. most important signing to their club, not counting the big boys. And I'll even throw us in the big boys. Here's why I'm going to throw us in the big boys right now. Hoffenheim, we've been deservedly shitting on them throughout the part of this season so far. They finally realized that enough is enough. They have to do something. Materazzo, let go, amongst other things. They unfortunately raided my Austrian club, Sturm Graz, and took Christian Iser, a handful of people from Sturm Graz, if I'm not mistaken, John.
I think their sporting directors from there. They got Pross from there. Yeah. I think they loaned out a player they signed over the season to Graz and might be bringing him back in the winter. So a lot of connection with Sturm Graz right now for Hoffenheim.
My sad Austrian potential, my Austro-Slovene thing is bummed that Graz is doing all this. But you know what? Business is business. I will say this, though. This Hoffenheim team looked like rejuvenated. RB Leipzig scored goals. They took a 1-0 lead. Hoffenheim equalized. They took a 2-1 lead. Hoffenheim equalized. They took a 3-2 lead. Hoffenheim equalized. And then took the lead in the 87th minute. Hoffenheim 4, RB Leipzig 3. Leipzig came in this match allowing 5 goals in the season. They give up 4 in one game. So, is that your match, your biggest, like, holy shit moment around the Bundesliga this week, or do you have any others that stand out to you?
That one for me. I mean, obviously Dortmund beating Freiburg 4-0, I think, is a little bit of a surprise. Although Dortmund's form at home is so much better than their form away, so I guess it's not as surprising. But yeah, so this one definitely. I mean, you knew that Ilzer coming in was going to make a difference at Hoffenheim. I don't think their team is bad enough to get relegated. They are obviously they were playing poorly, and they have a lot of different stuff going on off the field right now. So just getting that sorted out, but bringing in a coach like Ilzer, I think will really help them. And they looked really good. I thought they looked like the better side, too, in that game. It was a pretty open game from both sides, and they were able to carve open Leipzig's defense a handful of times and come away with a victory, which normally I don't like a Hoffenheim victory, but I will take one here.
Here's why it was Here's why, and I agree with you. It feels so fucking dirty saying that. It's almost as me wishing the Bears beat the Vikings yesterday. Although the donor guys, if the donor guys hear this, I might get banned in their Discord temporarily actually on there, so we'll see. With that RB Leipzig loss, an Eintracht Frankfurt win over Werder Bremen would put them at second in the table. Business as usual in the lineup. Trap and goal, Collins, Tuta, Koch, Teop, back four. Midfield 4, Ansgar Knopf on the right, Shqiri and Mario Götze making his 100th appearance for Eintracht Frankfurt in the middle. Nathaniel Brown in the left wing, Ikatike and Marmush. Bremen rolling in kind of that 3-4-2-1 shape. Zetterer in goal. Stark, Friedel, Velkovic, the mid-back 3. Weiser, Bittencourt, Leinen, and Kuhn. Your mid-4. Gruel and Schmidt, your 2 10s behind Marvin Duksch. I was driving around for a bit in that first half and seeing Frankfurt, and I had it on my phone. And for me, it was, I think, yes, Bremen had some many chances, I think, throughout, but the ball seemed to be Dino's lads. Dino Topmuller's birthday, by the way, as well. Pinned on the Bremen side, trying to get something going, trying to be quick and moving around. And then on his 100th Eintracht Frankfurt match, Mario Götze on once again, a little soft, subtle ball by Hugo Ekitike, which always seems to be very juicy. Götze with a pretty dope finish. Take us through your thought on that first half and that goal that, we can say was the decider.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a good half from us, I felt like. Unfortunately, we let Derek Cohn have a handful of chances in our box. Thankfully, he wasn't really able to do anything with them because those were some dangerous moments. Outside of that, though, we played great. We had the ball for the most part, I think, in that first half. I know it ended like 50-50 possession overall, but the chances were on our side. The shots were on our side. And, on the goal, Nathaniel Brown, great. I think it was Brown. great crossover. Ekitike, perfect layoff to just a wide open Gutsa in the box, and he puts it top shelf, 1-0, and that was enough to do it. When going into that game, when I saw that it was Mario Götze's 100th game, I couldn't believe it. I mean, he's been here, 3 seasons, and already 100 matches is pretty wild.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to see it for him.
So I'm taking a look at the second half stats, and you were saying so the possession switched in the second half to Bremen having the ball. Eintracht Frankfurt had 8 shots with that compared to Werder Bremen's 3. Werder had the biggest, juiciest chance, borderline on there, and clinch butt cheeks is the best way I could describe it there. What do you think what's better to you when you see how the second half went and how it ended? Is there more concern that we only bagged 1 in this match, or is there more joy and relief that we hung on and we got a clean sheet in a match like this?
I think the fact that we got a clean sheet, we only allowed 1 shot on target, I believe it was, and only 5 overall, if I remember correctly, or 8 overall, 1 on target. I think that's a lot better for us. Our defense has definitely been, I think it's played well, but it's been a little bit leaky throughout the course of the year. We've been scoring a shit ton of goals this year as well, and let's be real, that's not going to necessarily continue every single game. There are going to be some games where we don't score as many goals, and if that happens and our defense can step up and keep a clean sheet, I think it shows that we can play in many different ways and in many different situations. I think it's a good sign for us going forward.
Second place in the table, ahead by 2 points in RB Leipzig, 6 back of Bayern Munich after 11 matches played. 22nd in the Bundesliga with the most goals scored. Need to do some work on the defense, to say the least. We've allowed 16 and 11, but I think maybe we get to start working on that. But how wild is this right now?
It's to think of us in second place is absolutely just, it's almost unbelievable. I liked this team, I thought we could do well. I thought we could compete for Champions League before the season started, but to be in second place at this point, we've already played almost all of the top teams in the Runde so far. I know we have Leipzig left and Leipzig in the Pokal. Yeah, I mean, it's been an amazing season so far. There's nothing you can really complain about too much.
I mean, yeah, other than Bayern being ahead of us, we're currently ahead of RB Leipzig, Bayer Leverkusen, and Borussia Dortmund. That's, I'll take that right now. Plenty of other football, obviously, left to continue momentum on. We'll get into that. Starting with on Thanksgiving Day here. But before we do that, let's go in because it's tradition, and we can't fuck with tradition here. Hashtag what are we drinking? I saw your Discord. You had a lot over the weekend, but fill us in.
Well, since I was going to KC for the final, had to have a handful of airport beers on the way, and then for the Eintracht match, I went to KC Beer Co., met up with Brian for the first half, and had some delicious beers there. I got to say, every single one I had was very good. So definitely a good spot to go if you're in KC. It's a little bit far outside downtown, but the beer is definitely worth it. But yeah, right now, water, because that's all I need for the next 3 days, I think.
Did you say 3 or did you say 30?
Well, 30 probably, but 30 definitely.
I've had a good amount of food stuff over here. I actually got to watch the AW. John's, I think, not as he's a pro wrestling fan like me, although I'm more of a sicko when it comes to pro wrestling, to the point where we bought a pay-per-view, went to my friend's house, watched it in Redford here, which is about 20 minutes west of Detroit, and had some quality Middle Eastern. Shout out to Kebab Bistro in Redford. Had cracked a high life. It was a good day. It was a good thing for that. It was Hangman Jay White. I feel like I had to have a beer during that match. and moments of celebration for that. I'm like John, currently got the glass of water, though I'll probably pour a glass of low-fat milk after, just to get that nice like unwind here. Hope or if this Pistons or Winds game give me indigestion, we shall see to that. To all of everybody, whatever you're drinking, whenever you're seeing this, we say prost and cheers. And don't overdo it too much in these next few days for Thanksgiving, even if you don't want to be around your family members. Just moderation is key, folks. With that being said, and that PSA, let's go into, I'll go into the table for around the Bundesliga when we go into the weekend, but now let's go into what's actually, in addition to American football on Thanksgiving, 3 games in fact, including my Detroit Lions taking on the Chicago Bears. We have the Adler on Thanksgiving again for if I recall right, this is the third time in the last 6 years that played on Thanksgiving. 2019, 2-1 win at Arsenal when our ultras were banned. 2021 against Royal Antwerp at the Waldstadion against Giallo Paciencia. Header in stoppage time to Sevilla Point. That was a frustration watch because I felt like we dropped 2 points in that one, but we finished unbeaten in the group. And this coming Thursday, when the Adler traveled to Denmark to take on FC Midtjylland. Midtjylland currently in the. I'm going to try. This is where I wish Chris was here because I feel like he can know. That is actually the Superligaen. Any Danish listeners, if I fuck this up, please roast me. Midtjylland second in the table, although tied with FC Copenhagen with 30 points in 16 games played, 28 goals scored, 22 allowed. And when you go to the Europa League, wrong thing, I actually clicked the championship playoff. There we go. Midtjylland are in the middle of the table in Europa League. They've played 4. They've won 2. They've drawn 1. They've lost 1. They've lost to let's see here.
FCSB
in Romania. That was 2-0 in their last game. Then before that, a 1-0 win over Union Saint-Gilles, who we know all too well. And then a 2-0 win at Maccabi Tel Aviv on the second match day, and a 1-1 draw over Hoffenheim. So that is a 3:00 Eastern kickoff, 2 Central, or if you're in the Pacific, right in the middle of the day. So you get to watch that before you have dinner. Lucky. So Paramount Plus. How you feeling about this one, John? Do you feel like I'm thinking rotation? I feel like a little bit, not too much, but I feel like you're seeing your Bundesliga regulars and you're starting to see some Europa League regulars.
Yeah, I think there's some pretty clear opportunities for rotation there. Obviously, Skiri was starting in the weekend. I could see him coming out for Larson. I think you could see Dahoud start in there. Tuta fully play as a center back in this one because he was kind of doing a weird little hybrid, number 6 and center back thing. I think Götze probably gets rotated. I could see a Bembe coming in for Knauf as well. So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity for rotation. That said, obviously we have to take Midtjylland very seriously. They are tied essentially for first in the Danish league, although, they've allowed a handful of goals, 22 over the course of their season so far. So I think there's an opportunity for us to score some goals in this game. All their games so far have been relatively low scoring. They've only allowed 3 goals, and 2 of them came in their last game, which was away. And when they were at home against Hoffenheim, 1-1, and they beat USG 1-0 at home as well. I don't know.
With Amenda getting hurt, which happened, was it a fracture, right? Something?
Yeah.
So he's out for some time.
Yeah.
Do you see potential thing where we rest Tuta or Koch even, move Teat centrally and put in either putting Cuckoo in as a left back, or we push Nathaniel Brown into a fullback role as opposed to the left mid.
Yeah, I would honestly like to see Nkuku back out there. He hasn't really played in a little bit, and Teot did come in as a center back. I mean, I know he's played at like a left center back and a back three before and can play fullback and has played mostly fullback. Yeah, I honestly wouldn't mind seeing Koch get some rest. I didn't think that he had the greatest game over the weekend, and that could be some fatigue. Obviously, he was playing for Germany over the international break as well. So
dealt with injuries too during the season as well. So it's obviously there's a lot of matches. I think the Frankfurt Bremen commentator said that Eintracht Frankfurt has now 8 matches in 29 days. So there's a lot coming up. So this is where you got to nail the rotation. If you're going to nail the rotation, this is where you do it.
Yep.
Both Ekitike Barbush starting, or do you think one's going to come out from start off or be a sub for Matanovic?
I think both of them start this one. Partially because we're playing Heidenheim over the weekend, and they will have played a very tough game on Thursday as well. So I think that Ekitike and Marmoush start this one. A win here it almost certainly will cement our place in the top 16, I think, and really give us a good chance at top 8. So I think a win here is very important, especially with some of the more difficult away matches that we have, Lyon, Roma coming up. So I think this is one where we need to get a victory out of it. So I would like to see Ekitike and Marmoush start.
End of the day, dust settles, 90 final whistle blown. What do you see the score on, and who are your scorers?
I will go 2-1 for Eintracht, and give me Ekitike and Larson.
I think I'm not going to predict a Eintracht Frankfurt clean sheet in Europa League because that's criminal. I'm going to say Midtjylland get 1, but this is where Midtjylland have given up. You said 22. They've given up in domestic league. Mood, playing in a good vibe. I'm going to say Midtjylland 1, Eintracht Frankfurt 3. Dina Mbembe, because it's Europa League. Omar Marmoush. And Jean-Michael Bahoya, because he's been getting more and more into the matches that he's been playing lately. I think he'll get some time on Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll start, but I think he'll get some minutes. And I think this is a very good chance for him to get because he's not gotten one yet, right?
I don't believe so.
So perfect time to get one. I agree with John. This is not a game you take lightly. This is not a game you're like, we got it. Because you go in, business trip, get it done. Because especially if you win this one, it makes the remaining 3 in the Europa table much more manageable. And like I said, puts you in really good shape for those bye spots. So going into the weekend around the Bundesliga, we'll talk about the matches first because the last matchup of the Bundesliga match day belongs to Heidenheim and Frankfurt. So let's roll in first off. So Friday, 2:30, St. Pauli, Holstein Kiel, battle of the bottom parts. That is a big match. That is a big game in the table. Moving into the Saturdays, you have 5 9:30s and 1 12:30. These are Eastern times, by the way. Pacific people, you're not getting off that lightly. Augsburg Bochum 9:30, Freiburg Mönchengladbach 9:30. RB Leipzig looking to rebound against Wolfsburg, but saw this line where RB Leipzig has stumbled in their last 3, I think last 4 now. So maybe a good moment for Wolfsburg. Not that I ever want to root for Wolfsburg, but Union Berlin hosting Bayer Leverkusen. I think Bayer Leverkusen have Champions League duties this week, if I'm not mistaken. So, Union Berlin have a good chance to try to pip something in this one. Werder Bremen, VfB Stuttgart. I think this could be a very juicy game for the neutral. That's at 9:30. I'm expecting goals in that one. I'm sure people are going to enjoy it. I'm already sick of this because when I watched the Bundesliga highlight show for this past weekend, they're already teasing this fucking matchup on there. But then again, this is what I have to realize when these are the big clubs in Germany for the last, Bayern since ever, mostly, and Dortmund, they're Klassiker. RFC Dortmund, Bayern Munich, 12:30 p.m. I don't want to root for Dortmund, but give me something different.
You got to root for a draw on that one, honestly. I don't need Dortmund catching up, and I don't want Bayern getting further away, so give me a draw.
Is that your matchup you're looking forward to of the non-Frankfurt ones, or you got any others you're eyeballing?
I want to see Union Berlin Leverkusen. Leverkusen, I think, are starting to play a little bit better, but still have their issues. And I'd like to see what Union Berlin's defense can do against them. So that to me, that's the matchup I'm most interested in this weekend. I think Freiburg Mönchengladbach could also be very good, though.
Yeah, I feel like Union Leverkusen and Werder Bremen, VfB Stuttgart are going to be my two I'll recommend because Stuttgart seems to be sort of clicking. They're also short-halved a little bit.
And they won't have Dennis Undav for that game.
And El Torres, I believe, banged up too. So dealing with stuff. So Erden Demirovic is carrying a load mostly on there. Bremen, look good. I mean, Bremen they got a good enough attack. Their matches are always entertaining one way or another, and in front of their home crowd. So Sunday, Mainz Hoffenheim, 9:30. I'll skip a rock over the River Mind on that one if I can. But main event in our side, yes, we're biased in saying it. What else do you expect from us? FC Heidenheim hosting Eintracht Frankfurt. 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Central, 8:30 a.m. Pacific. Heidenheim struggling a little bit in Bundesliga play. They are 15th, 3 wins, a draw, 7 losses. Their last win in Bundesliga play was at Mainz on September the 28th. However, when you counteract that, though, with their Conference League play, they are 3 wins for 3, 5 scored, 1 allowed. They have a big day on Thanksgiving themselves, 12:45 Eastern. Why is that? Because FC Heidenheim is hosting Chelsea.
It's just wild to think about.
Yeah, Chelsea's team budget is probably, how many Heidenheims is it?
One of their players is an entire Heidenheim, let's be real. So
yeah, maybe 2 times Heidenheim, depending on how much that weekly budget is, but weekly wages before tax.
Yeah.
So Heidenheim are going to come in either on an adrenaline buzz, because I'm not saying because they could, even a draw against Chelsea, there's one of those nights that live on in supporters' lore for them. But they got to, if anything, they have a little bit of an advantage over us in here. They got a little more their matches earlier. They don't have to travel on there. But this is not a side, as we've talked about, that seems to be strong enough for multiple competitions. They are out of the Pokal after losing to Hertha Berlin. So we know they're going to be tough. We know they're going to be difficult. We know they're going to fight. It's not like they're not fighting. They still have that. Jaden Ivey at the buzzer. Let's go Pistons. Yeah. Another reason to be thankful. Point being, how are you feeling about this one? Eintracht Frankfurt took both last year, 2-0 at home. 2-0? 2-1? 2-1, right? 2-1 in the reverse fixture.
I can't remember at this point. I probably should have looked that up.
Bouncy pitch in Heidenheim in March helped us to get that win. Yes, Heidenheim.
That's right.
2. Own goal, 39th, and Kuku scored in the 49th. Piringer for Hoffenheim, then in the 59th. So, what say you on this one, my friend?
I think Frankfurt I think we should be able to handle them in this game. Don't want to give one of those Brian guarantees, but Heidenheim's league form has been atrocious, honestly, and they don't have the depth to play in multiple competitions. If anything, they're a little lucky that this is just coming off of international break, so they won't have played, 2 matches in a week before this. So it's a break. Then they've got the really tough game on Thursday, and then us. I think we'll be able to handle them. I'm going to go with a 3-1 Eintracht victory. Give me Marmoush, Matanovic, and you know what? Why not Archer Teat? He's been shooting. Just needs to keep him a little lower now.
I think in this one, I think Heidenheim are going to get a goal.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they're going to go completely dry. I mean, their attack was there in Leverkusen, jumping out to a 2-0 lead. It's just they woke the dragon, and the dragon was definitely breathing hot fire. I'm going to go 1-3 again. I'm with you on this one. I think the momentum is raving well. I think this side, if anything, does not want to let up after one game. They seem to like to relish the chance. Like, if anything, you would have thought that, the Red Wings just took the lead at the Islanders also. Good vibes are continuing. But the point being is, you could have seen a slip up. And Lana Stiva past times when you had Slavia Praha at home in Europa League and then VfB Stuttgart before the international break. You won 2 hard-fought games. They almost blew it in Stuttgart, but they got both wins. They're carrying the momentum well. The vibes are great. There's a lot to take in for. Now, if Denmark does not go the way you expect it to be in Europa, there might be an opportunity for Heidenheim to strike. I don't see that happening though. So 1-3. I am gonna go. Hugo Ekitike gets one. Nathaniel Brown, because I think he'll feature. And some bitch, who gonna get this other goal? Smianskar enough. I think he'll feature in. This is a good matchup for him. I really do think that. So and don't forget, anywhere in your predictions or in your circles, drop your predictions. Let us know, either in socials or anything like that. We'll be able to go from there. So I think that is we've lightning flown through this. Anything else we want to touch base before we go into where to find us?
I don't think there's anything real else. It's going to be an exciting week again. Frankfurt has been on a roll this whole season, and it's been a whole lot of fun. Hopefully it continues on.
My thing is this. It's exceeding expectations right now. It's a great vibe. Long may they continue, but let's not take these vibes for granted. Thankful. Yeah. And that's on there just because we know that it can come quick and bite us in the ass otherwise. Next episode, when we gather together, we'll talk about the next multiple match week, which is the Pokal in the middle of next week, and then we can match up. That'll probably be 1 week from today when we record on that one. So, John, where can folks find you these days in the ever-growing amount of social media?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Ben_JBen, on Instagram at JohnBen33, and on Blue Sky at johnben.bsky.social.
You can find me right now, Twitter, Instagram, Discord at GMComats. My goal is to tonight or tomorrow make a Blue Sky. So I will my goal is to then produce that Blue Sky, which actually I'll do that little screenshot. I'm not leaving, but go here also thing. It's still better than that. You can explain this to me. What the hell is the dog the chill guy. The chill.
What? I'm just a chill guy. I don't know. It's more ironic than anything, really. Like, you do something not necessarily chill. I don't know. It can be used in a lot of different ways. It's hard to explain internet memes. It's funny though.
I had that in my old moment, because for those that really go into TikTok and stuff, one of the Costco guys had a match at the AEW pay-per-view, did quite well. Former wrestler, did break his foot during the match and carried it off. But I learned about all of that too. So, I try to say, my only thing old is my number of my age, but maybe I am old.
Gotta love the brain rot. It's something else.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Blue Sky Social profile should be announced next week, hopefully on there. Ways you can check out this channel and anything that we do, which always seems to be growing. Go to hefpod.com, your resources for all prior episodes. We at 337?
It's either that or 338, right?
Yeah. Time flies when you're having
fun. It's been a lot.
Yeah. People are gonna be like, why don't you remember your episodes? It's old, damn it. Yeah, so that's where you can find all your episodes, map, and where you can find out all your Frankfurt sources, people, etc., all that stuff. There should be some more cool stuff coming in on there. If you're checking out the video, that is our YouTube here at Hey Eintracht Frankfurt. Be sure to hit that like and that subscribe, because cool things are coming in the pipeline, and the more liking and subscribing, we get to do some more cool stuff on YouTube. Exactly.
It is 337, by the way.
Yes. This brain's still working. And then also Old Fashioned Way on Twitter, HEF Pod, Instagram at Hey Eintracht Frankfurt. I believe we also have a Facebook if you go down that route. Do we have a Blue Sky profile yet?
Nope. No, we do not have a club pod one yet. So we'll see. And
then, for anyone that still loves I say old fashioned because it's not as old fashioned as fact, but it's just underneath that email, eintrachtfrankfurt@gmail.com. I believe it's that in that pod. Brian can correct me if that's not the case. Shout out to Brian for running the ship in Kansas City and guiding John down the great path of beers in Kansas City this past weekend. Miles for all the branding and artwork, branding and graphic works. Matt in New York for crushing the Instagram and, when his Jets aren't breaking his heart. Nathan in St. Louis for his killer production, especially for this one. I would say condolences on his coaching thing, but they just hired Jim Montgomery, so he's in a good place right now on there. Chris traveling back and forth. Hope he's well. You'll see him again on there soon. And then obviously for us two on here carrying on this Monday, John in Delaware, Garret here in Michigan. Thank you for checking out episode 337 of the Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast. Recap the Adler Europa is not going to be our usual form on there. It's Thanksgiving. Spend time with our, so I mean, we may just but on there, but we're probably eating dinner, so I'll just say for those that are wondering what it's going to be, it'll probably just be something like our weekend ones, quick solo hit video, couple minutes on there. Nathan will like it probably because it means it's not going to kill his computer. So John Delaware, Garret here in Detroit. Thank y'all for checking out another episode on this. It's been a great Eintracht Frankfurt run. May it continue. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody here in the U.S. checking this out. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, auf Wiedersehen, and Fórza SGE. Tschüss. Moderation is key, folks. Hey, Eintracht Frankfurt, la 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 la. Hey, Eintracht Frankfurt, la 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 la.